Hi everyone, welcome to episode 9 of My Midland. I'm your host, Public Information Officer Erin Bailey, and today I am joined by the Fire Marshal's office. We have Rocky and Diego, some of our fire investigators, and October is the start of Fire Prevention Month. But first, we're going to talk about what you guys do as fire investigators, so tell us a little bit about that.
I guess I'll start off. We do a multitude of jobs. I guess we wear a bunch of different hats. We do, I guess, a main thing is fire prevention, specifically in October, but we do that throughout the year. We also do investigations on fires. Rocky, if you want to touch up on a couple other things
One of the biggest primary things that we do at the Fire Marshal's office, we do all the fire inspections, especially new construction. Any new building that's built here in town, we will do the initial inspection, why it's being built, to make sure they're up to code. Just to ensure the safety of the public and as well as like the occupants of the building, and ultimately if there is a fire or something, we want it to be safe and easier for the firemen when they go in there and they're fighting fires in these buildings. So that's one of the biggest things we do, but we also do all the arson and fire investigations.
How do you become a fire investigator?
So every city is kind of different on how you get into this position, but for the city of Midland, we only promote within the fire department. So we all came from suppression first, so we were all firemen, paramedics first, and then a position opened up, we tested for it, and then interviewed for it, and then from there we go on to getting all the certifications required for us to be fire inspectors.
And Diego, you're the most recent one.
Correct, yes, yeah.
So talk to me about what that process was like, getting all the certifications.
It was actually about a year process between, interviews. You do your initial interview with some of the guys, investigators, and you go up to the chiefs, the actual fire marshal. Once you get the position, I came up to the front office for like a month or two, just kind of get familiarized with what the actual job was, and then they sent me and another investigator to the police academy. That was about 4.5 months. Mm-hmm. Then we get out of that, we do our state test, become peace officers, and then the process for the Inspector 1, Inspector 2 plan reviews, which is the fire inspection side of our job. We did that. Once we got certified in that, then we moved on to our fire investigator class, and then skills and whatnot.
Which is a lot more than you would think to become a fire investigator.
Yeah, it's like I said, about a year long, and then of course after we do that, there's in the field training. So. And
how long were you, both of you, firefighters, paramedics, before you started these roles?
I'm fairly new to everything, so I did 2.5 years on the operations side before I switched over.
And what about you, Rob?
I was with operations for 5 years, and then I moved up to...
And how long have you been an investigator?
5 years. So I just hit 10 years with the department.
Woo!
I'm right at 3 years with the fire marshal's office.
So you're catching up.
Yeah.
Slowly.
What's your favorite part about it?
I think my favorite part is how diverse it is. Like since we do hold all these different certifications, is we can kind of whatever hat we want to wear that day. So we're still firemen, we're still paramedics. The investigation's fun, it's challenging, and then of course dealing with the public. We do a lot of public education for the kids and stuff, and that's always a lot of fun for us too.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. My main thing is the public education side of it. Doing stuff like this with y'all is pretty fun. I know. During COVID last year, we did all those little, Facebook Lives, the fire prevention videos. That was fun to do. And then, like what he said, it's not as, I guess, unknown as being on shift, but like we could be doing a fire investigation one day, the next day we're doing inspections, the next day we're doing this, and the next day we have a, public education like we did on Monday or Tuesday. It's just different hats. I mean, we could come across a scene where we have to be in the paramedic, hat and do that, and then there's been times where there's a big fire and we're pumping engines, so it's just you could do anything at any point in time. So just diversity in the job. Yeah,
since we're out in the public all the time, we're out in the field. There's a lot of times where an accident or something comes in and we're actually closer than the guys are at a station. So so there's a lot of times we pull up on accidents first and kind of get things going until the engine and the ambulance get there. So I guess that's what kind of good about us is we kind of cover a little bit of everything. So
you guys have to stay up to date on all of your certifications for investigators, but you also have to stay up to date for firefighters, paramedics as well.
Yes.
Correct, and the law enforcement side of it too. We have to maintain all the CEs and trainings and whatnot.
Just
We spend a lot of time training,
Yeah, just a little bit.
Which we'll touch about how the law enforcement side plays into your job during the citizen questions. But both of you touched on some of your favorite parts working with the public. And let's talk about Fire Prevention Month. The month of October, we pushed that really hard from you guys' side of things. What are the biggest topics that you like to hit and let the public know about?
So as far as like our topics, we always like to cover like smoke alarms, fire extinguishers, stuff like stop, drop, and roll, and then just kind of educate the public on what the fire department does, as well as trying to educate them on what the fire marshal's office does. And one of our biggest things is the poster contest that we do every year. So just anything fire related, just getting it out to the public, so that way they, especially for younger children, just help them understand how fire stuff works, as far as like I said, smoke detectors and stuff.
Yeah, just getting that exposure out to the children mainly, even the public, just knowing that we have different programs available to them. Having that working relationship with the fire department just makes it a lot easier. And at a young age, you never know how you can impact a child, not only on the safety side, but future careers and whatnot with the fire department.
And our theme for this month, or for Fire Prevention Month, is the sounds of fire safety. So the day this airs is October 1st. Fire poster contest, everything is due today. So if they're listening to this right when it comes out, you have till 5 p.m. At
No
Central
pressure.
Station.
Get
it in! But also that touches in lines with smoke detectors. So talk to me about what people need to look for at home, how often they should check, change batteries, things like that.
So smoke detectors, they've come a long way. The technology has been advanced over the last few years. Used to, we would recommend changing it every time the time changed. But the new ones have 10-year battery lives. So they last.
Which is wild.
Yeah, that's a long
Pretty
time.
impressive.
So instead of swapping out the batteries now, hey, 10 years, just replace the smoke detector.
Should they check it?
Yeah,
Like, is there ways
we
to...
still do recommend that, every time the time changes or once a month or whatever, hey, pop up there, press that button, make sure it's working. I like to tell people, let their kids hear it, so that way they know what that sound is. Not just whenever you're cooking and you burn the food, but like there's there's
Does that
other
happen often to you?
Well, not me, but
Who does it happen to?
okay, me mostly. Yeah. Don't want to get in trouble. That's not where you're going with that. No. But yeah, just so that way they hear and understand that sound and stuff, and just because sometimes a lot of people are like, hey, what is that? No, just get familiar with that what a smoke detector sounds like.
I was oblivious to a lot of things fire prevention related before I came up here. Smoke detectors, I never really checked it. And I worked for the fire department, I never really checked it. So it's just one of those things that
You're calling yourself out?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like as the average citizen, you're just not thinking about it. Yeah, you move into the house, it's there, and you don't really realize it's there until it beeps, and then you just usually unplug it, and you're just okay, no big deal.
Most people see them as a nuisance because, like when the batteries die, that beep, you're like, which one's beeping? And you're trying to find where this but you're like, where is it at? But yeah, but you'd be surprised how many times like that we'll go to a fire and people are like, I heard the smoke detector, I got my family out. It really does save lives and stuff.
And where should smoke detectors be in a home?
So we normally recommend them in every bedroom or like hallways. It's not good to put them near the kitchen, obviously, because there's going to be smoke in there.
Smoke, steam, dust,
anything.
set it off.
Don't set it next to like a shower, like in the bathroom next to a shower where you could have steam or something, because those could set off a smoke detector. But just usually up high, because heat and smoke rise, so that anywhere up high, so that way the smoke can get to it. So, and most of these detectors now are. They both do CO and smoke, so combination detectors, which are also good to have in the house.
Because you wouldn't smell carbon monoxide, right?
No,
so you have to have a detector for that.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
it's
specifically if your home is gas, has gas appliances or anything like that. So
if someone hears the smoke detectors go off, they have their 2 ways out. What should they do to get out of the house?
You want me to go in?
Yeah.
Okay. So the main thing that we try to teach is having 2 means of egress out of a structure or your house. So usually that's going to be a front door, back door, garage. If it's a 1-story structure, and depending on the age group, you can also use a window as a means of egress out of a structure. And then depending on the phase of the fire, if it's small, then obviously you can just walk out, run out, whatever. If it's a little bit larger and you have smoke accumulation in the ceiling, then you can crawl, stay low to the ground, because heat and smoke rise. So
this is one of the biggest things we teach, especially the young children, like with coloring books and stuff. Say, draw out your house. It's good to practice these things beforehand, so that way there's no confusion on what they should do when there's a fire. So a lot of times we tell them, hey, when you get home today, talk to your parents. Y'all establish what y'all are going to do, where y'all are going to meet. Because a lot of times, especially in fires, when everybody gets out of the house, which is a good thing, but then somebody's like, oh,
Everyone's
wait.
running.
Yeah, somebody, especially parents, their biggest priority is their children. They're going to be like, well, did my kid get out? So they're going to want to go back in the house and look for them when their kid's already out, and then it's dangerous for them to go back in that house. So we always tell them, hey, y'all have a big tree in the front yard or the neighbor's house. Just have a designated place to meet.
Should they be a certain number of feet away from the actual
Just
house?
somewhere safe, and we always recommend don't make it across the street or something like that, because there's a lot of units that are responding. The firemen are showing up. We don't want anybody getting hurt because, they're on their way there. They see this house on fire. They're focusing on, hey, I got to get in there and save these people. We don't want them to accidentally hit somebody crossing the street. So normally I recommend, like, hey, if there's a mailbox right in front of the house, or if there's a tree or something, that everybody has an understanding of, hey, I need to go there.
Yes.
And a lot of times we'll recommend the neighbor's house because sometimes we want them to get out quickly. So, hey, go to everybody meet at the neighbor's house and call 911 from there. So that way we know everybody's out of the house. Because that's the first thing we ask when we get there is everybody out of the house. That's our first priority. So it's always good to have a good meeting spot.
And it seems like we hammer, or that at least school districts hammer doing fire
Fire
drills at the schools. Well, it's almost more important to do them at home because that's when you're going to be relaxed, you're going to be asleep, you could be eating dinner, watching a movie, so it's really going to catch them off guard. So getting them familiarized with the sound of the smoke detector and what to do in the event of a fire and emergency is really important.
It's also a good chance to go meet your neighbors.
Yeah,
so
correct.
if it does happen, you don't just show up at their house and be like, hey,
by the way,
Hey stranger, my house is on fire. Yeah.
First time we're meeting, but
yeah, which is not funny, but this is
for
just
sure.
sense of community. And it's October. We're starting to get around to the holiday season, decorations, soon to be Christmas trees, all that stuff. Talk to me about the safety that people need to keep in mind when they're working with all those things.
One main thing that I would just discuss is not overusing a single plug and having multiple extension cords plugged into one outlet. Just be aware of that. And also, if you have an actual, real Christmas tree, just be cognizant that those are more flammable than the newer ones that are, synthetic materials. So just be aware of that.
So a lot of the newer Christmas trees, because in the past they had so many issues with fires, a lot of them now are made to be more fire resistant.
Oh, okay.
So like he's saying, the natural Christmas trees, especially if they dry out, are extremely flammable because of the oils in the pine
And frying
stuff.
a turkey.
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say that next. We do have that video that we made with you guys.
Well, around Thanksgiving, we'll bring that back.
It's always a good one to bring back
Are we
because
going to repost it or make a new one?
Ooh, we can probably make a new
Make
one.
a new one.
it's always fun.
Kevin wasn't here for it, so we gotta do
we gotta
it.
make
It's always fun doing that,
Yeah.
Well, and it's good because people can actually see what happens whenever.
And I, when we first filmed that, which for the people listening, if you don't know what we're talking about, when you put a frozen turkey in oil, it's oil, right?
Hot oil.
Hot oil, it just becomes a massive fire. And just filming that and standing a distance away with how hot it was, I can't imagine it being over it and that flame.
Yeah.
You'd definitely be missing your eyebrows.
And a lot of times that's people are doing this in their garage or under their back patio, so now their house is involved in it. It's just not, it's a bad situation all around. So
Yeah. Is there anything else about what you guys do on a day-to-day basis that you want the citizens to know?
I would just say, we're going to be going into businesses, mainly commercial structures, throughout the day, throughout the year. And I know it's a big city. There's a lot of new construction, a lot of existing construction. So a lot of people are just kind of surprised sometimes when they see us just, hey,
Walking around.
Yeah, what are y'all doing? And we're like, hey, we're here to do the inspections and whatnot. So it's just, people just being aware that we're out here and that we're going to try to do our best to go to all the businesses we can do and just trying to make a presence, so the public knows that we're out here doing something proactive instead of just being reactive on, the operations side. So
I guess what is kind of touch on that. A lot of people don't when we show up, they're like, "What did we do wrong?" We're not here to get anybody
correct,
in trouble.
yeah.
Our biggest priority is just safety of that building and the public and protecting that person's business. A lot of time, a lot of people don't understand the things that we're trying to get them to do is to protect them and their business itself. And we're not there to get anybody in trouble or cause them any problems. We're just there to protect the public and stuff.
Do businesses have to be inspected once a year, or how often is that done?
We try to do it every business annually,
Okay.
but Midland is a busy town.
6 of you? 5?
correct. So there's 6 investigators, inspectors, 1 fire marshal, and then we have a fire prevention chief. So we try to do, like you were saying, as many commercial structures as we can. Some of them have priority, so like nursing homes, hospitals, schools. So those are the ones that are going to be getting inspected pretty consistently on an annual basis. The other ones we just try to fill in as, when we can. So.
And if anyone has concerns about their building, they can obviously just call and say, hey, do you mind coming to check out my building?
At any point in time, anyone can request us and we can schedule an inspection. So.
Okay.
And a lot of people, just the central station 7.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
A lot of times people do call us and they're like, hey, I'm going to start a business. I don't know anything about this building or what I need. And so we'll go in there and we'll look at it with them and explain to them, what they're going to need for their business and how to get up to code.
That's kind of another unique thing about our office is not only were we firefighter paramedics prior to this, but we also are involved of the building process from the ground up. So we do pre-development at City Hall with all the other, mechanical, electrical, and all that stuff. We'll do the plan reviews of the initial, plan of the building layouts and whatnot. Then we'll do all the fire alarm, fire sprinkler systems, fire extinguishers. Then we'll go out to the field and inspect it. So we're involved in the whole building process.
From the outside looking in, those are things you don't even think of.
Yeah,
correct.
Sure.
Yeah, and a lot of departments that have a plan reviewer that does it, and they'll have inspectors that go out and do it. So we just kind of all in one-stop shop. So
Yeah, that's great. And with that, are you boys ready?
Yes.
We're going to turn it over to the fun facts.
Uh-oh.
So the first one, on all these, Diego will have you answer first, and then you, Rocky.
Okay.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie.
You can say Backdraft. No, just kidding.
I got.
Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm trying to answer that correctly. Favorite movie.
I have a lot
What's
of favorite
the first
movies.
one that comes to your mind? You can tell us.
No, I know. I'm afraid to answer something that someone's I want to say Step Brothers, but I don't want to.
That's allowed.
Yeah, it's a
Step
good
Brothers
movie.
is
Yeah.
okay? Okay, Step Brothers.
That's a great movie.
That is a good movie. I'd probably have to say The Big Lebowski is probably one of my favorite. Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite movies.
What's your favorite place to eat in Midland?
Ooh, I'm a big Italian guy and barbecue, so I'm trying to think of the place. It's off of Big Spring. It is.
Italian or barbecue?
It's Italian, and
Big Spring.
Yeah, off of Big Spring.
Luigi's?
Not Luigi's. I'm having a brain fart. What is it?
I go to Ray's, but that's off what?
Yeah, Ray's is good too.
They're not open right now. They closed temporarily because of COVID.
Oh, Dominique's?
Yeah, Cafe Dominique.
Cafe
That is my favorite
That
Italian
was
restaurant.
Italian?
Yeah.
Oh, never
it's
heard
It was
it.
really good, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what my favorite restaurant is. It's a hard question.
Where do you go the most often?
Probably Osaka's just because it's by the house and
Oh,
I like
okay.
sushi, so. Yeah,
That's tasty.
Yeah,
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
No?
red.
Red?
Total
If you could have one superpower, what would you choose?
To fly.
I was gonna go with fly. It'd just be fun to fly around.
Fly, yeah. Like Superman, you get the one fist. Yeah.
Are you a dog or a cat person?
Dogs.
Yeah, for sure.
Man's
dog.
best friend. They're so
You
cool.
know,
We do have a cat, but was not my choice. So.
we have not had one guest that said cats.
I mean, cats are
There's a
okay,
reason.
but-
There's
a
right,
reason,
I'm
just
right there
saying.
with you. Yeah, your go-to karaoke song.
Firework by Katy. Oh, it's your turn. I didn't say firework by
Dang,
Katy
you took
Perry.
mine.
Can't steal my song though.
I took my thunder.
You guys should have told us that. We would have played that for you to finish the lyrics.
I know. No one would have known. I don't know. Something Justin Timberlake. I'm a Justin Timberlake fan. That's
Okay.
yeah.
Anything. We'll just throw any Justin Timberlake out there for you.
Yeah, anything. I got it.
Okay.
Every
Alright.
word. If you would
Good
have
to know.
done Justin Timberlake during the lyric songs, I would have killed it. But
You guys chose Justin Timberlake for.
and they knew
The
it.
next
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone
the
knew
next
it.
group got
They
some
did, yeah.
good songs because of us. They should,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They owe us a thank you for sure.
But you chose Firework by Katy
Yeah,
Perry.
for sure.
Okay, well,
Love that
remember
song.
that.
He's good at it. I've heard him.
No, you have not. Yet.
Yeah, I have.
What's your favorite TV show?
Ooh. Favorite TV show? Dave.
Dang.
On FX.
Oh, okay.
That's a good
I
one.
don't know. really.
Or Ted Lasso.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Ted
It's
Lasso
so good.
is
TV show?
amazing. It's on Apple TV. It is
Yes.
the best.
They just like swept the Emmys.
Yeah, like
They're
it's-
so good.
You need to watch it.
We just watch everything that comes out new, so I don't really have a favorite one.
What are you watching right now?
The is it Nine Perfect Strangers?
Oh
or
my
something?
gosh, yeah.
That's pretty
That's creepy.
Yeah, it is creepy.
I haven't been able to finish it because I like to watch happy shows at night, and that's a little new.
Yeah.
It's a little dark.
See, Ted Lasso's a happy show.
It is.
It's a
Or
feel-good
Bob's
show.
Burgers. That's what I'm
Bob's
watching.
Burgers too, yeah.
But
Never
Ted
seen
Lasso is highly
I
recommended.
guess I might have to watch that one, yeah.
Your favorite sports team?
It was the Lakers because of Kobe. I guess it still is. but
R.I.P..
Yeah, R.I.P. But yeah, the Lakers for sure is my favorite sports
Okay.
team.
The Cowboys, I mean, this is
Go
natural.
figure.
Yeah.
Your favorite type of music?
I really don't have one genre. It just depends on my mood.
Yeah.
I'm,
Okay,
sure.
so
I'm pretty
Justin
diverse. Yeah,
Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake. Yeah, go with default JT.
Yeah.
He's diverse.
I listen to mostly country music. So.
Okay. And your last one.
Ooh, let's give me the hard one.
You can have one meal
Uh-oh, I didn't
for the
study.
rest of your life.
Oh, this is easy. Steak.
Steak. Just the steak.
Just a steak.
Nothing else
You
with
don't
it.
Just a big steak, maybe some like potatoes, but just a steak.
Okay.
I love me a good steak.
Okay.
I would probably say spaghetti and meatballs
Ooh.
every day.
The spaghetti.
Every day.
Yeah, every day.
Breakfast, lunch, and
Yeah,
dinner,
breakfast, lunch, and
baby.
dinner.
That's it for the fun facts.
All right.
You guys killed it. Good job.
Good job.
Nice.
Now we'll move to citizen questions, which we touched on this a bit, but now we get to elaborate. Why do you guys carry a gun? And are you cops too?
I guess I'll touch up on that one. So we are certified peace officers, and I guess the main reason why we get involved in the law enforcement aspect of our job is for arson investigations. So we have the ability to do a cause and origin investigation. If it's determined to be an arson, then we can, fully see the case through. So we can do the, initial investigation. If we get enough evidence, we can do the arrest, and then of course we can go to court and whatnot. So that just gives us arresting powers to do everything in-house when it comes to arsons.
And that's why you carry a gun?
Correct, yes. And just to reiterate on that, we go through the same police academy that all the other officers in MPD and throughout the state of Texas go through. We do the same state exam. We have the same, peace officer license in Texas as well. So we're also having to maintain our CEs like they are, and any other trainings like legislative updates and whatnot we have to do as well.
Okay. So technically, I guess you guys could pull people over and write tickets?
Yes, but
You
due to our
don't,
department
but-
policies, that's not necessarily our job. You could look at us as more of a detective role.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's the best way to explain it.
Investigating the
Yeah,
fire.
Correct,
investigating
yes,
the fire.
yeah. So we're not doing patrols, but we have the ability to. We just rarely do.
It's just not part of your day-to-day.
Correct, yes.
Are you called to every type of fire that happens in the city?
So how we get called out to fires, it just depends. So normally if it's like a normal structure fire and the captain, it's his determination whether he wants to call us out or not, or the battalion chief. So if they show up and somebody comes out like, hey, I was cooking on the stove and I accidentally, caught the kitchen on fire, generally they don't call us out because the captains do have the ability to determine cause and origin. But if it's something they feel is suspicious or they're not sure what started the fire, they'll call us out. And anytime it's suspected arson, then we'll obviously get called out to those two.
And on top of that, if there's a large loss of monetary value or loss of life or injuries, generally that'll automatically call us out for that as well.
How big is scene preservation for you guys when it comes to the investigation?
It's one of our biggest,
Yeah.
It's very crucial and it's important, but unfortunately, like in our job, with fires, we can't just say, hey, don't do what you got to do.
Don't touch that.
Correct, yeah, don't do what you got to do to make sure the fire is extinguished and isn't going to rekindle before we get there. So it's just kind of a hit or miss on what we can and can't do. But scene preservation is very important.
So back in the, especially coming from operations, we knew what it was like going to a fire, and all we cared about was putting the fire out. So we'd take everything out of the house and, not intentionally damaging stuff, but, trying to make sure that everything was completely out. So then when we go to investigation side, we're like, stop tearing everything up.
Don't touch that.
You never realize how important it was whenever you're on the operations side going through the door with the hose, how important it was for that person to actually remember and retain what's going on, what they see initially, because when we get there, we don't know how it was prior to them doing what they had to do. So it's just nice for some of the older people or even some of the newer guys that they have a good memory of what they initially saw upon entering the structure. That gives us an idea of, location of fire, materials, placement of furniture and whatnot. So it's very helpful to get info from the guys that were there initially.
We've been doing, over the last few years, we do a lot of training and educating our guys on what we're looking for when we get there.
Yeah.
And So we have a big class every year that we kind of go over all this, because coming from suppression, it helped us understand what those guys don't know. They don't mess with fire alarms like we do. They don't mess with sprinkler systems like we do. So we do a class that we kind of cover those things, but we also touch on scene preservation, and then as well as kind of educate them on how arson investigation works. So that way. And they've been really good about, if they go to a fire and they think it's suspicious, they call us early and they're like, hey, don't touch nothing, let these guys do their thing. And then, so it has gotten better than in the past. So it's getting that education out there has been beneficial.
What is, I guess, on average, because every fire is probably different, how long does a normal investigation take?
I would say there's really no consistency in it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be, an hour, a couple of minutes of being on scene. Sometimes it can go days, weeks. It just depends on the severity of it and I guess the nature of the fire. So if it's an arson case, generally those will take longer.
Gathering evidence and all that, it takes time. Sometimes we're lucky, we'll show up and it's obvious cause of fire. So those can take, like you said, like an hour long, and we can figure out where the fire started, what started it, and usually we'll get lucky. But there is some times where we show up and depending on the amount of damage, we have no clue. Like, there's no way for us to tell what. We can usually tell where it started, but what started it is usually our
origins are a little easier to determine. But I mean, sometimes the cause, if you have a fully involved structure that burned to the ground or has really extensive fire and heat and smoke damage, it's really difficult to determine a cause on fires like that. But
and then the fire crews have to put the fire out, so they do cause a lot. Nothing against them; they're doing a great job, but they're doing what they have to do. So unfortunately, we can't determine what started the fire.
Okay. And your next question is: do you go through the same training as firefighters?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the initial fire academy, EMT, and paramedics all the same as the guys that are still on shift, and then we still have to maintain the same continuing education hours as them, and we still go out and do the skills training that they do as well.
Yeah, and like right now we're even doing all the same. So like our PT standards, we're still held to the same standards as all the rest of the guys in the department.
As a fire investigator, do you, once you switch over, are you guys in this position for the long haul, or at some point if you're like, I really kind of want to go back to fighting fire, could you switch back on shift?
You do have that option. Nobody's done it, but you could if you just really want to go back to operations, you can. But nobody's ever made that transition.
Yeah, I'd say the retention is really, really high. I think, like you said, I don't think I've known anyone that has gone back on shift. They've either retired or moved on to a different department out of the fire marshal's office.
Because especially right now, since we're so short-staffed, there's times where we worked overtime at a station, so we still get to go.
Okay.
We still get to go play fireman every once in a
That's a
while.
good point. We can still have the capability to augment the guys on shift. So if they're running short, the battalion chiefs will call us and say, "Hey, do y'all want to work a shift of overtime, or do you want to work 8 hours or 48, whatever?" So yeah, we still have that ability to go back on shift.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. See, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That was the last citizen question.
Oh,
Awesome.
Is there anything else that you into the know, specifically towards fire prevention, since it is October and that's what we're talking about? You think we touched it all?
Yeah, I think we pretty much
the
touched
poster
up on it.
contest
Yeah.
is our biggest thing.
Let's touch on that a bit, because talk to me. I don't think people realize, one, the amount of posters you guys receive,
Oh yeah, so.
and what goes through to judging them. So touch on that.
So every year we do the poster contest, and it's every school in the city of Midland, as well as we reach out to Greenwood as well. Any school in the county, I guess, the whole county of Midland. Kids submit their posters, and then we have judges that come in and they pick, and each school grade, so like certain age groups. It's not just one overall poster.
Kindergarten through 12th, right?
Yeah, but it's it's split up into different categories by age. And we try to find local celebrities, like you, and come and judge our.
I did judge the last one.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah. And then those posters get we'd go to the mall and do a big fire prevention. They'd get displayed there, but every year's winners gets displayed at our fire station until the next year's posters come out. So it's just fun for the kids, and it gives them. They can practice their fire prevention stuff, and helps them educate on whatever the topic for that year is.
And I mean, we didn't get to do it last year because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm excited that it's back, but it's also insane to see the amount of talent some of these
Yes.
kids have.
Oh my gosh. Some of them, it's so impressive. I was like, there's no way they drew that. That's
Yeah, right. Even
printed.
at like the like first grade level, I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, they're already drawing better than I
Yeah.
could.
I'm like, yeah.
And it's cool too to see the progression throughout the years. Like you'll see, especially the really talented kids, you'll see them like in ninth grade all the way up, and they'll submit a poster every year.
Yeah.
And their drawings get better every year, and you're like, wow, they're really good at what they're doing. So.
I think you have a future.
Yeah. Like I can't draw for to save my life.
It'd
So.
be a stick figure.
Yeah, exactly.
One.
Yeah. So it's cool. It's something we always look forward to every year. So.
I know, we're excited for it. And that's something you guys will have to watch for on the Fire Department Facebook page. We'll post the winners on there and share the best of the best.
Yeah.
But, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
It was fun.
Everyone, that concludes episode 9 of My Midland. We'll see you next time.